Okay, I'm seeing it pop up under live. I don't know why I can't open it though.
Live on like the actual
On
channel?
the actual channel, yeah.
Uh,
Oh no, it
can
is
you
live.
click?
It's up.
It
It's
is
up?
up.
It's up.
There we go.
So let me just quickly. All right, and check 1 2 3. We are live. All right. Well, we had a few technical difficulties getting it started, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special broadcast here today on the Scorpio eSports channel. I am TNR Blade, joined by some very special guests here today. We have in the booth joining me James and Ivan, the co-founders of the Scorpio eSports team, as well as the Scorpio Motorsport owner. John, thank you all so much for joining us. Ivan, we have a very special event going on today. Why don't you tell us a little about it? Oh. Why is it not going through? Why is that not coming through?
So, if you'd like to say a few words.
Ivan, you have your privacy
apparently,
settings.
yeah. Just double check your privacy settings, Ivan,
Your
because
privacy
it sounds like
settings
your
are
mic's
set.
not coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Not entirely sure. A party audio should be coming through the stream.
It's something with your settings, Ivan. Go to your settings and go to audio.
Yes. Okay. Well, once again, technical difficulties, unfortunately. But like Ivan was trying to say, what we have here are all drivers who have been invited to come compete in what is this virtual test session. So what that means is we are recreating a real-life test day here in the world of Gran Turismo. All of these drivers have been invited due to their outstanding performance in some of the various series that Scorpio eSports has been holding over the past few months and weeks. And so they are all here to come out, test, and record data to be analyzed and looked back on by Ivan and John, our two guests here in the booth today, to see who could potentially get a ride in a real Scorpio Motorsport car. So, James, assuming your mic is working, why don't you help fill us in a little more as to we've got going on today?
I would love to, but give me 2 seconds because I'm actually helping Ivan get his sorted.
Of course.
He's finding it right now.
All right. So we will be. So the format for today, to get for this test session, we will be hosting a 1 hour test, followed by a 5 minute qualifying, and then a series of, I believe, 3 sprint races. So for everyone looking for a little bit of competition today, we do have that going on. But whilst that is happening, we will be able to have a wonderful chat with John, the Scorpio team owner and founder, as well as both Ivan and James in the booth as well. Should be very exciting for everyone here in the broadcast, and we can't wait to get this going. So hopefully once our technical difficulties have been sorted, we will be underway momentarily.
Can we double check that my voice can be heard now?
Give me 2 seconds. Ivan, just go ahead and keep talking for me, will you?
Yeah, check 1 2 3 4 5. Hello.
Yep, you are on stream. Perfect. We should be
Right,
good
John.
now.
Just before we move on, can you also check?
Yes, John, if you would like to say a few words.
Can everyone hear John on the stream?
And that is a negative, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. Guide him through the same thing you just did, and we'll rock and roll.
Right. John, if you go to the main menu, and you will see the settings button there, just next to the notifications. Can you see it? And then there is a confidentiality tab there. Confidentiality. So when you click on settings, scroll down. Oh, sorry, privacy. And then enable. Yeah.
Hey, boys. Yeah. Okay, that's clicked.
Now let's check, guys. John, just keep saying something, and so the guys can confirm that you are heard on the stream.
He's rock and roll.
Okay.
I hear him.
You can hear me now?
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Great. Yeah, John. So yeah, apologies for this, everyone. It's just the first time we're doing something like this, so bear with us. Motorsport is the technical sport, so even sometimes we have an issues, but we are all good to rock and roll now. So yeah, if everyone wants to tick in and start driving, and we will just rock and roll from here. Aaron, pick it up. Aaron?
Yeah, it would have helped if I unmuted my mic. So as I was trying to say here, we have 8 drivers joining us today, all of who have been invited through their performance in various Scorpio eSports held events. So joining us on track today, we have Nico Arigata, Ramos, excuse me, Ryan Chung, AMS Super S2K. Dean is currently on track as well for the moment. That is James. Gramenos, another one of our drivers, has joined us. Supa, Roadrunner, and Safe currently on track for the moment. And let's get spectate in and get going.
Yeah, once again, we will go through it with every driver one by one. First, I think let's start with introducing the drivers to John. Now, let's start with S2K, I think, our championship in Scorpio Super Formula. We started not so well. We made a few mistakes in the first few rounds, but then I got to grips with the car and got used to being under pressure. He actually won the last 3 rounds in a row, and now plays the championship. So a lot of expectations from him. As I know, he also He's one of the youngest drivers that we have, if not the youngest. And he also does really, really well in the endurance championship. So big expectations from eSports 2K. John, if you want to say a few words about Scorpio and like what you think about all this, because I know that, John, for you, all this esports stuff is very new, so it would be very valuable to sort of hear your initial thoughts about everything that we're trying to do together.
Yeah, man, that's certainly it's all very new to me, as you say, and quite exciting because the world's moving on in ways, and I think to be able to have a sort of a link between the online racing and real world is something that moving forwards is quite an important factor, I think. So we're really excited to be linking up on this and working together.
Great, yeah. So as I said, his name is Murad. He's an American driver, and I expect him to be in the top 3 today for sure. Quick, but just as I said that the Roadrunner and Ramos just beat his time, but I'm sure that the time will evolve and drivers will keep going faster and faster. And now we move on to the Roadrunner, whose name is Jason, the guy from Germany, and he actually won our endurance race last time round in a very, very technical track, the city track in Tokyo, and we also expect great things. I think we're the same age as so we will just go through drivers one by one, so John is, and our viewers are familiar with who these drivers are. Now let's move on to Nico, who is also an extremely fast driver. He was in the World Finals a few times, and I think that pretty much every time he competes somewhere, he wins. So expectations from Nico as well. I actually worked with Nico quite a bit on the data recently, so we sort of helped each other with the setup for the next round of Super Formula. Aaron, you are very familiar with Nico, so give us a few thoughts on the. We've seen a lot of him.
Absolutely. Nico, who most of our viewers will recognize from the Super Formula Championship, our other protagonist competing with Super S2K and Ryan in that series, our top 3 in the standings. Very fast, very consistent driver. Unfortunately, has had a few additional hiccups in the past few rounds, but it has at times has looked nigh unbeatable on the track, especially in those Super Formula cars. So very excited to see what he can do in this Radical. And now, just before we forget, Ivan, if you want to perhaps walk us through quickly some of the rule sets that we have regarding tires and fuel for our drivers here today for this test session.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and as you said, Nico, I'm just watching him now. He cuts, like he touches the gas like on every corner entry, on every corner able to push straight away, not afraid of the damage rules that we have. And yeah, so the tire rules and the fuel rules are very simple, so there is no usage multiplier, so it's just X1 on both. So the drivers shouldn't really struggle a lot. However, since we are trying to replicate the real test day, unlike in all other sessions and races that we run, the drivers are not allowed to come back to the pits using the exit button and reset the tires. So the rule here is that if a driver wants to take a break or any driver wants to come into the pits and chat to us or whatever, they have to actually drive back to the pits and stay there without changing the tires. And that's crucial because they will have, like in reality, and John will obviously confirm it, like there is never the same conditions, and you can't really test the new tire all the time. So you are likely to have one set of tires for each test day. and tires are expensive in real world. So sometimes you go on a test day and you never even get to run the new tires during that day. So our drivers today are privileged. They actually do have new tires, but they can't change the tires during the test session. And also, we're trying to sort of put a little bit more pressure on our drivers here by making the damage rules harsher than they are used to, and also trying to replicate what would happen in reality. And now, if any driver goes off and damages either the front splitter or the rear wing, they have to pit and stay in the pit lane for 10 minutes to simulate the repair time. And if they damage any of the suspensions, they have to spend 30 minutes in the pits. And if they crash really hard and damage the engine, then it will be a DNF, and they will be excluded from all the following procedures like qualifying and races. So just to put a little extra pressure. And still, the main difference is that here in a test day, you don't have to pay for anything you damage, unlike in real life. So, yeah, we're trying to put a little pressure. John, John, would you like to pick it up from here and just say, like, you know, when we used to come to the test day, and you do with your drivers now, how much pressure the driver actually feels, not only because there is a sort of physical threat, yes, so if you crash really hard, you can hurt yourself, but also in the insurance on a car and the amount of spare parts that we have. So I'd like our drivers to hear it from you. What is the mentality while you approach the real test day and the real race? Because none of the drivers here actually understand that, but I hope that with our program and NextGen, we will be able to make them feel that.
Yes, yeah, good point there, Ivan. I mean, when you're actually out in the real racetrack, the pressure's fairly extreme. You're dead right. You'll put on a set of tyres which, let's face it, most normal people go and have their yearly holiday on a set of tyres that you'd expect to get the time out of within maybe 2 or 3 laps. So it's there's definite pressure there. There's definite pressure as much as it's you go into a tyre wall, and it's if you're lucky, it might be a quick fix, but a quick fix would be maybe a couple of hours between qualifying and a race, or between 2 races. But once you start ripping corners off the car, quite often that can mean the end of the weekend. So yeah, a lot of pressure in that respect. It's interesting about a point I would like to just pass through, just sort of watching Guy at the moment, as far as there's a big part of motorsport nowadays, especially here in the UK, is track limits. So we're really strict on where we're placing the car on the track. Something that obviously guys need to be aware of, because again, it's something that when you're online racing, you can get away with that. But in real life racing, you'll get penalties for that. So it's just
so the track limits in the game are actually enabled now, but that's one of the weaknesses of this simulator, is that sometimes you can actually get away with going on the grass a little bit, but actually if you cut the corner, it will give you a penalty and it will disable your time. So they are aware of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, and we actually have Felix. Yeah, sorry. I can see that Felix is with us, and I will introduce Felix to everyone who is not familiar with him. Felix is actually our good friend from our partner server, Balkan Simple. So obviously, check them out as well. They have some great championships running with his cars and like the GT3 cars, and just a generally great community as well. And Felix is the strategy mastermind. So if anyone watched the streams from Scorpio Super Formula, they know that Felix knows everything about everyone on track. So, hello, Felix. Maybe we forgot to say check 1 2, but anyway, Aaron, pick it up.
Okay, I'm
There
here.
he is.
Sorry.
All right.
Good evening again. So I was speaking, but you didn't hear me. Sorry. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. So I'm happy to be here to cover this one with you. Yeah, I just came back from London, so very tired. But I'll try to do my best, even though I'm not on the top of my game. I see that the drivers are doing already some fast times. As you said, it will be tricky for them because they do have to look on their cars and not to lose it at any point, because yeah, that pretty much means that they at least are getting away with the 30 minutes fixed time, or they could be as well disqualified from the session. A bit of pressure, as you said. I think it's good. I think that's what's missing on Gran Turismo in general, especially on our server, so Balkan Sim Hub, as you said. Some drivers are not driving their best, I have to admit, at least on where we drive. But I'm really looking forward to this one. This is something different. This is something refreshing on the sim community scene. And thank you guys for organizing this. And I'm happy just to be here and to help. We do have a couple of candidates that could possibly join in the future, but they're busy with their karting leagues and other obligations. So unfortunately, they couldn't participate in SF23 or at this test session. Anyhow, enough about that. Let's go back to you guys. You already gave pretty good intro about everything, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I'll try to cover and do my best.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and it's always a pleasure to have you. One of the main things that we have going on for this test session, obviously, is, as it is a test session, we are collecting sim data. Telemetry from all of the drivers being recorded and eventually to be analyzed by Ivan and John, hopefully, over the coming days. Ivan or John, if whoever one of you wants to give an answer, tell us a little more about what sort of things are we looking for out of these drivers? Is it necessarily like a throttle trace in a particular corner, or is it just over the course of a whole lap we're looking at certain pieces of data?
I think I will let John start, but before we answer your question, I think I will ask John to actually explain the importance of the data. Because in a real motorsport community, in real life, you actually don't even need to see the video of a driver driving. All you need to have is the data, and no one knows it better than John. So I will ask John to actually introduce everyone to what data is and why is it so vital in motorsport community.
Thanks, Ivan. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, data in itself, it's I mean, you look at it on the screen, and I mean, a lot of people sort of look and go, "What do I make of that?" But there's real certain patterns that, as race team owners, we look for that show the capability of a driver as whether their techniques will work with the car. So, for example, a brake trace, it's crucially important that we can see a real defined shape in brake traces. So you'll have particularly with the radical cars, a great example. So you've got your aero grip from the car. So initially you've got to have a really hard push on the brake to bring the car down whilst you've got the aero grip and to use all the braking efficiency. As you'll come into the corner, you'll bleed that brake off, and as you're getting to the apex, you just keep bleeding. So effectively, when you see that on a trace, it looks very much like a shark's tooth, with a very sharp on and a sort of slight bleed off. And it's things like that that are really key to being able to, like I say, understand whether the driver will be able to maximise the car's efficiency to its best. Obviously, you know, we've got steering traces, throttle. That, you know, there's so many things with all of them. You know, it's always nice to know steering trace. You know, you can see if the car from an engineering point of view for the team, we can see if the car is perhaps, if the driver's having to correct opposite lock sort of too much, we can get an idea from that if the car's perhaps got a bit of oversteer in it. Maybe as the race goes on, the tyres are sort of wearing and degrading. We can see if the car's increasing with oversteer and things. So, so massively important. It really is. And obviously, you can read data purely in its own way, but in today's world, having video footage at the same time, that really is the icing on the cake, because nowadays we've often got one or two cameras on different areas, and at the moment we'll often have a camera sort of facing forward on track, so we can see where we are on track position and that, and we'll have another one that's faced on the driver, so we can keep an eye on his inputs as well. So crucially important, and you've really got to, as a driver, if you want to maximise your potential, you've really got to understand your data yourself. So it's something that we would we go through with the driver to ensure that they understand exactly what they're looking for. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a picture on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also, I remember we used the data a lot for setting up the car as well, because sometimes I remember myself, when you drive, you make some setup change and you think that it's faster, you think that it's better, but maybe it's just more comfortable, but it's slower. So the data, of course, is very, very important as well for actually seeing what exactly the changes are when you change the setup as well. Aaron, to you now.
All right. Well, the very interesting answers and certainly great insight into what all of this data being collected can be used for and how it can be beneficial to the teams. And speaking of said teams, Scorpio Motorsport, obviously a very rich history since its inception. John, perhaps you would like to tell us a little bit about Scorpio itself and give a little bit of a brief history.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Scorpio as a team has now been going. We started in the year 2000, so 25 years. So it's a fair old time we've been going. And as with all forms of motor, I mean, one of the things as a driver as well, Ivan will be able to sort of give his view on this. It's motorsports. It's a very very up and down. I think the general consensus is that 90% of motorsport is disappointment, unfortunately. But because we're all so competitive and the drive is there for that small percentage where the wins and excitement come, that's what drives us all. And as a team, we've equally had many ups and downs. And there's nothing greater than championship wins, obviously. And it's all part of the industry, and I say the enjoyment of it, because as competitive people, that's you need hard times to push you forward to gain the best from the good times. And I say the team's been around an awful long time. We've seen a lot of changes in the sport as well, and we've also adapted to many different kinds of cars, from single seaters, sports prototypes as you're seeing at the moment, and even some involvement with classic cars as well. So there's fairly rich history with the team.
Well, certainly no truer words said. You have to have some of the bad in order to get the good. Now, obviously, Ivan, one of your former drivers from back in the day, perhaps are there any other drivers that come to mind that really stood out to you that have come through the ranks through Scorpio?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I mean, the thing is, there's been drivers that have been, I say, because it's such a difficult journey, I guess, the motorsport journey for drivers. It's full of I guess, budgetary problems mostly. Because it's an expensive game, and we've had some drivers that have had some really exceptional talent. I mean, I had one young lad from Jamaica, of all places, who was probably one of the best talents I've ever seen. A lad called Ramon, but he was unfortunate. His family had a bit of a financial problem in and in the end he had to give up. But then we've had other drivers that we've taken on since they were sort of 15 years old that have gone all the way through to for this particular GP2, a lad called Will Bratt, and he was an exceptional talent again. I think we've got another lad that won a championship for us in, I believe it's 2009, who is now managing drivers, and has currently been managing a driver in F2, who's now actually racing in the Super Formula in Japan. So yeah, plenty of talented drivers, and it's been some interesting journeys with that.
Oh, absolutely, and it's incredible to hear such stories.
I can see that we have the first off. We have the first damage of the session. Mr. Onel Murat, aka Super S2K, our championship leader, pushing hard as always, and he's now in the pits. And his pit crew are very, very busy looking at his car instead of changing the splitter, but he's been there for 3 minutes out of 10. And I think we will ask Onel, aka Super S2K, to chat with us in the meantime. Are you here, my friend, the championship leader? What happened? We can't hear you on the stream. We can't hear you on the stream.
So yeah, just double check your privacy settings again.
Go to settings, privacy, and enable voice. All right, I want to ask Felix, while he's doing that, I want to ask Felix, because Felix is the one who always knows everything that happens on the track. And I remember Felix actually mentioned some interesting strategies in Road Atlanta and the way they actually fought with Nico. And I'll actually take this opportunity to keep introducing the drivers, because I haven't said anything about them now. But he is the winner of many endurance races, and I think that he can win long races when he doesn't make mistakes. But Felix, if I may, give us your insight on Super S2K's journey so far. You know him really well.
Yeah, I do. I should know him really well. I don't know what happened yesterday. I'm so busy in my life at the moment. But Super S2K currently, so one thing about him is that he had incredible races so far. So one thing to mention is consistency. And that's the key. We see some drivers are really, really fast in sometimes. So I could as well, when I was driving competitively before, I could here and there pull a lap that's top 10, top 50 in the world, but it happened once and that's it. Super S2K is able to be spot on lap after lap after lap, literally. Gramenos, for an example, is a great driver as well, and we see him as well constantly in the league, qualifying well, doing well for 10-20 minutes, but then it's like his focus drops a bit, and then there's a mistake, there's something happens, he's back to P10, P11 and so on, so he fights messing up and so on. With Super S2K, it's really impressive, and that's the word that I was looking for. Impressive how he's able to be so consistent and just pull incredible laps. We saw some mistake from Nico before as well in some situations, but with Super S2K, not even if there was a mistake, he was able to come back and even win the races. So yeah, nothing much to say. Top talent, top racer, and yeah, congrats on that. Impressive.
Indeed, yeah. Onel, can you actually try to say something so we can hear you on the stream if you manage to change the settings? Check 1 2 Super S2K. All right, no worries. Aaron, my suggestion is that we keep moving driver after driver, and since Felix actually mentioned Gramenos, I wanted to say a few words because when I initially published the list of drivers who will be driving, everyone raised a lot of questions about Gramenos and Supa. So I'd like to discuss it one by one. First, Gramenos is actually the only driver on this test day that actually driven the real Grand Snatch in a car. Now, and I think that's partly why he's in P2, because he knows the track, and he's very, very fast driver in his own right, and he is actually a very, very successful motocross racer. So I think that in the races, he was a little unlucky because I've had quite a few incidents that I had to cover. A lot of incidents happened to him on the first couple of laps, and I think he was just unfortunate. But I believe in his race, and I think that he's proven it now. I wish him all the best. And he's one of the best drivers. Just a little bit unlucky in our races. And then when it comes to Luba, who is in P7 now, my reasoning to bring him, and I suggest you start calling people by their names rather than nicknames. So Henry, I think that he is also one of the great drivers. But he's playing like he's using the Logitech G29, which is like the entry-level wheel, and I am insanely impressed, like how fast can he be with the entry-level, like $200 wheel without a feedback, because I started sim racing with G29 as well, and I know that it's not good gear, like it is not good. It's like when I transferred from G29 to the Pro that I have now, I gained over 1.5 seconds. So the fact that Super is able to do that, I think is great. So yeah, if Aaron or Felix want to jump in and say their opinions about Henry as well, I think it would be valuable to John, because John is also relying on what we think about drivers, right? Because John doesn't really have much time to watch the streams. So I think that it would be a valuable opinion. And if James wants to as well, please do.
Absolutely. Certainly, we've seen, especially with Gramenos, like you said, it's certainly just very unlucky, the opening few rounds with the Scorpio Super Formula Championship. Just those lap 1 incidents really costing him, and none of them necessarily all his own fault, just being caught up in others' incidents. But like we're seeing here, running P2 at the moment on track in terms of lap time, certainly I would almost argue that perhaps it could just be this car seems to suit his driving style that little bit more than the Super Formula car. Perhaps we can get a little bit of feedback from you guys once we get the telemetry analyzed from these drivers, see if that could necessarily be the case. But certainly all of these drivers incredibly talented, incredibly fast. And like you say earlier, consistency is the key. and a bunch of these drivers have been consistently fast throughout our test session today, as I believe we have just now under 12 minutes remaining in the test.
Yeah, just to add the question before from Ivan about Supa and his driving style and driving in general. So I can draw parallel to what I was driving as well before. So it was a Trustmaster T150 as well, an entry level. And before that I was like 6-7 years on just the controller. And yeah, the force feedback on Fanatec, even though it's just CSL Elite, is huge compared to that. It's like a toy. And just the fact that he's here and he's driving SF23s in the top split is impressive as well. He still needs to find that consistency there. Now I don't see his times because I joined late to the server, but he's 1.7 seconds at least on my stream here of the pace. Maybe there are different numbers. Anyhow, this is good enough. I mean, this is solid racing, yeah.
Like you said, he has certainly been very consistent. The past few laps have all been sort of around the 130 to 131 range with his lap times. Very, like you said, very consistent, very impressive driving from all of these drivers. Nico, who is currently our P1 lap time holder for the moment, his fastest lap 128.397, and he's not dipped out of the 128s for any of his past few laps.
Actually, the fastest lap that we had, like the reference lap that I talked about, was 28.2, and I was told that no one will actually get close to that. So Nico is already just 1/10 of the reference lap.
There's one thing that they're not doing, at least from what I saw, and that this car has a bug. So it's a bit strange, but this car is faster if you shift from third to fifth with skipping the fourth gear. Why is that so? Because of the turbo. And on GT7, if you skip fourth gear, you will be faster. So I'm now driving with Nico. If he's in the party and hears me, maybe on the next lap he can test this out. He should be gaining a couple of tenths a lap only on that. We did drive this car in our championship on sport tires, so it was a constant play of understeer and oversteer, and the car was sliding, so great fun to play with. And I think if he can maybe give it a try, it could be good. So we'll see.
Now you said it was fourth gear to skip, right? Not.
Yeah, from third to fifth. He should be gaining a couple of tenths.
Interesting, because it looks like he's currently doing skipping over fifth at the moment, going from fourth to sixth. So I wonder if perhaps from the series that you ran, a slightly different gear ratio in the car.
Could be. It was bop on, but maybe from fourth to sixth. Yeah, could be as well.
Okay, just to clarify to all now. I can hear from your mechanics that your front splitter has been repaired, so you're free to go out on track anytime you want. And I think that to cover all the drivers, I'd like to switch the focus to two drivers that are currently sitting P3 and P4. And actually, in all fairness, I didn't have any thought about inviting them before I saw how much faster they are compared to Nico in the last race of Scorpio Team Endurance Championship. And they actually, Roadrunner, whose name is Jason Taylor, and I just checked, yeah, he's indeed 16 years old, so a very good age to start real racing. A few years more and it will be probably too late, but now it's good. I can see from his questionnaire that he was top 20 worldwide in time attack for Porsche. He's 24-hour Nürburgring winner with Endurance Race Federation and multiple top 100 worldwide time attacks guys. So he's very, very quick. And I was very impressed with how he handled the last race, as I said, in Tokyo, where it's a very, very fast track, but it has walls everywhere. So it's a city circuit, and he was fantastic. He won, I think, by like 30 seconds or something. So he's very, very fast. And the other guy, actually his teammate. So let me just find the So Javier, he is 20 years old, and he's also multiple champion for various endurance championships. And you can see here, that's why they each won a race in our endurance championship, because they are endurance masters. Basically, they are very, very consistent, and they are very, I would say like very confident drivers and very complete drivers as well. So they are good with setup. They are fantastic with strategy, and they are very, very consistent. Like you guys obviously won't know because we don't really broadcast stack live. But at this point, I would like to make John involved in our conversation again, and I would like to discuss, John, and hear your opinion about how important is the consistency, apart from the obvious things like lap times and the race pace, but in terms of why consistency is important when you work with the driver on setup, and like when the engineer works with the driver. I obviously know the answer, but I want our drivers to hear it from you, because with inconsistent drivers, even if fast drivers, but inconsistent, it's almost impossible to set up the car. So I'd like to give your opinion on that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Van. Yeah, totally true. There's nothing more frustrating from the team's point of view when you're trying to get a lap time out of a car, but you've got a driver that's lap times that is good, but or sectors. So you often see, like most of the times when we're out on track, if it's a championship meeting, we have like our lap times all come up on a timing screen. We'll obviously have sectors which come up, and many times you'll see sectors where you'll get a driver in and you'll say, well, look, you put your sectors together, you're fastest, but you can never put the lap together. It's always off on sectors, and it becomes really frustrating for the team, because we need that consistency. I many times I've had to say to drivers, sort of just level back a little bit, just take drive yourself just a few percent under your capability and be consistent, so we can then actually see what the car's doing. Because I'm quite old school in this respect. That generally I work on if a car's working or not is done on the stopwatch, because quite often a driver might not actually like the feel of a car, but actually it's quicker, and that's something that you've often you've got to sort of take into account. So if you have that consistency and a driver can just keep replicating exactly what he does, it allows us to make changes and then to see what that actually does to lap time. So yeah, it's crucially important. I mean, it's interesting, in all the years I've done it, I've certainly had some drivers that I would say are endurance drivers, because they are capable of driving at sort of 90-95% lap after lap after lap, and they hit the same marks on the track every single time. And then you've got others that can pull out a blinding lap, but they can't replicate lap after lap. So yeah, massively important. Really, it's something that I look for when I'm looking at drivers. I'm always looking to see if their consistency level is good. When you're at the top level at motorsport, you're great example, the single seater championship at the moment. If you were to do sort of GB4 in the UK or British F4, you'll have 20 cars covered by a second. You can be 0.2 of a second off and lose 6 or 7 places quite easily. So that in itself tells you how important consistency is. So yeah, no, it's a good point.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will ask the provocative question to Felix and to Aaron now, and because we need to spice things up a little bit now. Aaron and Felix, if you were John, like if you were the Scorpio manager or Scorpio team owner or Scorpio engineer, who would be your top pick? You can only say one name.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
tough. That is tough. Felix, you want to go first, so I don't have to make the tough call.
I'll go first. Yeah, okay, thanks. It would be, for me, I'm a big fan of Graminos, but in this case, if I'm not mistaken, Nico is on a controller, and I always go for a controller. So
No. Nico is on DD Pro Fanatec.
okay, who is on controller then? Is it somebody else?
There is no.
No controllers.
here.
No-
Okay.
No controllers
Okay,
on track
then
today.
I have mistaken him for someone. Then I'd go with Graminos.
Uh,
He's definitely potential. He lacks a little bit of maybe consistency, but this is not something that you cannot polish. I mean, just needs a bit of work.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of his, so yeah.
And certainly a great call, I say, as he picks up a small penalty for track limits. But it is a tough call, and we've seen, especially through both the Super Formula Series and then, of course, the Endurance Series, all of these drivers have incredible talent and potential. I got to go with Nico. It's just outright pace for me is always a strong suit. And we've seen that Nico has the consistency to go with it as well. As he jumps into the pits now, 1 hour has elapsed.
We have 20 minutes of nothing, so we will finish the practice at 1 hour 15 minutes or something.
All right, so we do still have a bit of time. As I was saying, Nico has shown incredible talent, incredible pace across the entire series of Scorpio Super Formula. Like you've said, I've not had a chance to see him in action in the Endurance Series, but that he would be my pick to go for. There are times where he might not have the absolute one-lap pace that we've seen out of, say, Super S2K or Ryan, the two AMS drivers, but Nico, his race pace it always comes into play in those events, and that would be my pick.
Thank you very much.
If I may just clarify my opinion, so I went with Graminos because it's very subjective. But if I need to be objective and I'm in the position of Scorpio team manager, I think it would be Super S2K because of everything we saw in Super Formulas before.
Yeah, I think that actually, like if I was to answer that question, I would be very, very, like I would have very difficult choice. I would split the answer into categories, right? So if we were to go with seaters, I would say probably S2K because of his sheer raw pace. But obviously, 3 races ago I would have answered differently because he was just crashing all the time. But in the last 3 races, he won 3 races in a row, and you can't argue with his pace. And if I was to say for radicals or for the endurance series, I would have to pick Ramos or Roadrunner because, I mean, you guys, you haven't seen them in stack, but they are just incredible. Like their consistency is like you would just switch to them on the replay, and like all of 20 laps in a row, they would like within 2/10, all the. So it's really, really impressive. I think we have like about 10 or 12 minutes to finish the test, so we haven't spoken about 2 more drivers. And let's start with Safe. So we haven't really seen much of Safe But the reason is because he actually lives in Egypt, and his connection, like his internet connection, is not perfect. So we ask him not to actually take part in the races to avoid lag. But this is the guy who is quite young as well. He has an incredible pace, but and he actually also did days in real life. I was told that he actually drove in Abu Dhabi some Lamborghini GT or something, and he's very, very persuasive in terms of that he wants to take part in our series, and I really respect that. So this ability to persuade is very, very important because it actually shows that the driver cares. And the final driver to cover for me is the most sort of contradictive character in all of the series that we run, and it's Ryan. I think personally, and I actually spoke to John about Ryan as well. One of the youngest drivers, incredibly fast and consistent at the same time. But in the recent races, and Felix and Aaron, if you want to pick it up as well, like he won the first race in Mount Panorama, which I think was the hardest race of all that we've done so far, because I mean, just because of the nature of the track, and he won it, and he won it on strategy and on pace. But when he was when Nico and S2K closed the gap in the championship, and he lost the lead in the championship, and he's still like 6 points away or something. Like they're all very close, but it just felt to me that when he lost the championship lead, he sort of started making the mistakes a little bit more. And I would like Ryan to join to this conversation if he can and if he wants to. But yeah, Felix and Aaron, what's your opinion? Because I think Ryan is a great driver as well.
Oh, absolutely. All of these drivers certainly are. He like you said, he won our the first round out at Bathurst in the Scorpio Super Formula Championship. Though many could make the argument that much of that was helped out by the fact that Arigata and Super S2K were both caught up in that huge lap one pileup down at the second corner, which benefited Ryan immensely and gave him a huge buffer to play with. But that said, he like you said, he has shown that he has the pace to keep it up with those two throughout the series, and has very consistently ended up on the podium. Which is why he's managed to stay within. I believe it's our top three are still within 10 points of each other, even as we are approaching round 7, I believe now. Which will be next week, I believe, at Le Mans. So that'll be something very exciting to watch out for.
Ryan is the only driver who managed to get a podium in every single race that we ran so far. So if we didn't have the drop scores, Ryan would have still been leading the championship just due to his consistency. So that's a very strong point towards him. As John said, consistency is a key here. So Ryan, if you hear us, we support you with everything that we can. And if you want to join in, you can as well.
I think I have nothing to add there. it's perfect.
All the
podiums, that's...
Yeah. And I apologize. I haven't tossed the mic over to James yet, our other Scorpio eSports co-founder with Ivan. Do you have any words to add on Ryan's performance so far?
I mean, thank you for the introduction. I appreciate that. I've loved listening to this. I just want to say, this is really cool for me. I've spent the last year kind of just grinding for something like this, so it's incredible. And it's really emotional for me, I'll be honest. But I wanted to say, yeah, I've loved Ryan from the get-go in terms of we talk about consistency. That's him, right? And I think you're right with the drop scores. We're not involved, or with he'd be in the lead, but we have a long championship, right? And I think some of these top drivers have have utilized that drop score already, right? Where he has that liberty of still, you know, taking an L, so to speak, right? So, and to be clear, I come at this from a strictly gamer perspective. I mean, that's me. I'm on controller, right? But I did also, in regards to the question of who'd be picked, you know, if you know, if you're talking about I guess from the perspective of being top, being the John, you know, who you're looking at. Personally, if I'm being blunt, I don't think that enough time has gone by to determine that. You know, Arigata clearly has absolutely undeniably incredible pace. The inner American in me loves to see Super S2K doing what he does. You know, it's just there's not a lot of Americans in this kind of motorsport, and it's good to see somebody at that level, you know, home country wise I can root on. But you talk about winning championships, right? And I think and tuning a car, which without getting too much into it, I think I'm pretty good at least from the controller side, just being a gamer. And I've worked with Ryan even just in our GT4 upcoming championship and got him an incredible amount of time actually out of his car because of that exact reason, his consistency and being able to actually judge what's going on with this car. So that's a big piece too, and that's why I personally couldn't make that assessment or that judgment right now, just again from the gaming side of things. But I did have a question for John. It might be kind of off the wall, but like reference points, right? Reference points are big just in general with racing. And in a video game, you have stagnant or just, you know, static reference points, right? I mean, you can have something maybe even such as a bystander or something that in the real world might not be there. And I've known drivers to have weird reference points like that. And I'm just wondering if, and I would assume maybe not, but I'm wondering if you ever encounter that with an amateur driver that you may be coaching or anything like that that has a reference point that might move or something that he's looking at that you're like, hey, you know, maybe this gets taken away or something gets repainted or something like that, and you have to work around that. I'm just curious if that comes up at all.
Yeah, it certainly does on occasion. It's quite often you'll find that the circuits will relay parts of the track, and quite often you'll just find you'll have a really simple sort of join in the tarmac that they'll have as a part reference point, but then that gets changed. So there's definitely times when that happens. It's you know, it's an interesting point, you know, as well, because it's one of those things. As I think when you're racing in the real world, it becomes so much feel of the car that actually the reference point as such it becomes less critical in a way, because the feel, the driver just knows the place they've got the car and where they need to move it from, and obviously different effects on the day, you know, wind and things can all have a little effects on that. If you're in a race, for instance, following another car, you're going to get aero wash, and aero wash can affect where you make your turning points and things, so your reference points from that. So it's variable, and yeah, there's definitely certain times where there's specific points, but they have changed. Like I say, circuit changes have done it recently at Silverstone, and that's exactly that. There's a certain point that we would sort of pick out on the field corner, and yeah, you know, they've resurfaced it and it's changed. So yeah, good point.
Yeah, guys, we have finished the practice session, and before we move on to qualifying, I just want to mention that Mike Grove has just joined us as well, and I want to make sort of a public statement so the whole world will hear it, that I am extremely grateful for Mike, for his trust, because Mike and James both, they were built in this community for over 2 years, and it's now called Scorpio eSports. So I think from myself and from John and from whole Scorpio Sport, I think it's so great that there are people who actually trust us and who understand what we are trying to do, rather than just being competitive in the field of esports. we start cooperating. And I think what Mike is doing in terms of actually transferring ownership of the team is very, very respectful, and Mike will forever be a part of this team, and he's very, very valued, and his opinion is extremely valuable for all of us. So on behalf of everyone, I think let's say a huge thank you to both Mike and James for making this happen as well. Now, I think it's time to move to qualifying. Nico has one practice session, but as John can also tell you, winning practice session is one thing, but you get points in a race. So let's move on to 5-minute quality, and then we have two races, 10 laps each, and the second race is the reverse grid of race 1. So now we will see who can really perform under pressure, who can post a really quick lap time within 5 minutes, and then keep it on track in race 1. And then if the winner of the race 1 is good enough to come through the field in a second race. So I think I will pass it on to Aaron and Felix, because no one can do live commentary better than these two guys. And after we finish the second race, we will have around 30 minutes for our drivers to actually chat directly to John and ask any questions. So I will shut up now. Aaron and Felix, go.
All right. Well, thank you
Real
for that
quickly,
lovely transition. Go ahead.
Sorry, and real quickly, I just want to offer everyone kind of 5 minutes that has been on track for an hour. If you guys gotta, do what you gotta do, whatever the case may be. And in the meantime of that 5 minutes that we will get started, actually we will roll at 20 after, so 3 minutes. And yeah, me and Mike will be joining this race. So to the thought of the controller earlier, I'm your controller guy. So we will have one on the track, but we'll be joining you guys. So yeah, we will roll at 20 with qualifying.
Yeah. Okay. While we're having a break, so our drivers can use a designated place in their house where they can shed some weight before qualifying. I wanted to ask John, what is your initial impression? Because I think you mentioned that you've never been involved before in any esports. What is your general, honest impression about what you saw in the last hour? Like how the drivers drive? Like, just tell us anything you want to say. Really, like, just what's your impressions now?
Van, yeah, it's been really interesting watching from here at the moment. I say it's a new experience for me, just picking up on this, trying to get a feel for where all the drivers are at. There's certainly some talent there. Certainly, Nico seems to be pretty much on the pace as far as outright speed. So yeah, it's been interesting so far.
Yeah, I think you will be excited with the race actually, because with all the races that we do are quite long races. So endurance races are 2 hours, and Super Formula is like around 1 hour 15 minutes usually. So we've never seen these drivers actually battle it hard in short races. So it's like a new experience for all of us and them as well.
I think it's going to be it's interesting with this 5-minute qualifying, because at the end of the day, that's there's not a lot of time, and that puts the pressure on them straight away to go out and get a lap in. So that I think is going to be quite exciting.
Absolutely. Probably only 3 or 4 chances at best in order to get a good lap in. We will see if any of the practice results sort of flip-flop here for qualifying, as James said, we will now have 10 cars out on the track, both himself and Mike joining our 8 invitational drivers on the grid, and very excited to see what they can all do, as we have reached 2:20 in the afternoon on the East Coast. We will be getting rolling shortly as qualifying gets underway here for the first of our 2 sprints. We'll wait for the lobby to get started and for the cars to head out onto the track. So, test session complete. Now these drivers get to show their muscle out on a physical competition setting. Felix, what do you think we'll see out of these drivers today?
Oh, sorry. The pressure is a bit bigger than usual. They know they're being watched, so that's first thing. And it's not the same, right? It will be just. I think it will come to the fact who has the best composure at this situation, who has the best focus. It will be very tricky in a reverse grid. Who will take risks? Who will actually be the one going from back to front? That will be interesting race to follow. Now I already have my favorites based on what we saw earlier in other championships, and I think it will play out in a similar fashion. We will see. Turn 2 Druids. If everything goes, it could be a straightforward race. If not, if there will be some mistakes or crashing, it could definitely point somebody race in certain direction. We see Arigada already preparing for his lap. He's behind Supa there and leaves a good 5 seconds of gap. And the first one to go into the fast lap is Chung. So we can as well see what reference lap will he set.
So with that said, it's very interesting you mention it, as we did see Nico almost laying back a bit, obviously prepping his tires for his first flying lap. What do you think these drivers will try to prioritize? Because obviously this track, and these cars especially, a very good mix of long, high-speed straights, but also some high-speed corners as well, where you will need the downforce on the front end. So do you think these drivers will prioritize trying to get a bit of clean air, or do you think they'll try to be as close as they can to the car in front, try to get a bit as much of that slipstream as possible?
I believe they will want to be as close as possible to the car ahead, because of the fact we're racing soft tires. These cars already have a good amount of force, and with racing tires they're basically planted. I wouldn't expect that dirty air is going to be an issue, or such a big issue in qualifying. Definitely you would like to be close in the back straight or towards the end of the lap, if that's possible, of course. Since the pace is quite similar, if you're not close at the beginning of the lap, you will not be probably close at the end either. Maybe we can see as well some cooperation from the partners in crime. I mean Chang and Super S2K. We saw that in Formulas, I think, where they were giving each other slipstream. Yeah, Chang already moving. Yep.
First lap set for Ryan, a 1:29.5. Still currently net pole position at the moment, as he's going to let both the... I believe that was actually both of the R2R cars, those two teammates from the Endurance Series are now leading this train. Although certainly not very close together, so no slipstream effect helping them out. As we said, Arigata already almost 0.6 quicker than Ryan on that first flying lap. So it looks like clean air might be the way to go here, as both cars who had the most amount of clean air currently 1-2 at the moment.
Actually, now is a good time to ask John. First question is how bad the dirty air actually is with radicals, and the second question is, John, what would you advise the drivers to prioritize during the short qualifiers? Would you advise them to try and get the slipstream, or would you advise them to actually have clean air and just focus on yourself?
I think, to be honest, with the radical, the dirty air isn't quite as bad as you have on an open wheel car, to be honest. In some respects, it's I think if I was there, I would be saying to the driver, find your space and then focus on yourself for the lap. I think following drivers too close. It's more often than not, it just takes your focus away from what you're trying to achieve. I don't think the gain in the radical from the slipstream is enough to warrant sort of not having your space and doing your own thing, really.
Very interesting points indeed. Nico has shaved off another couple of tenths on his previous best. He's now down to a 28.7 fastest lap for him. Super S2K once again our two Super Formula protagonists. 1-2 out on track at the moment. Nico, I believe, that is it for his qualifying. He did not get to the line in time to start a third. Super S2K did manage to get to the line before time expired. This is his final lap to make an effort as he rounds the final corner, getting on power early, staying right all the way over to the right-hand side, trying to minimize the gap. Not going to do it, as actually it'll be Roadrunner jumping up to P2. Gramenos at the last moment grabbing P4 at the line. James slots himself into P8 for the time being, as the final couple cars round the start-finish line, and that will do it for qualifying. Arigata transfers his test pace over into qualifying on pole position for the first race, then followed up once again by by our endurance driver Roadrunner in P2. Very close between himself and Super S2K, even closer between Super S2K and Gramenos. Only about 0.02 of a second between them, as Ramos qualifies 5th, and then it is Ryan in 6th. Grove manages to put himself in the 7th place position. Dean will qualify 8th. Supa brings it home 9th. And Safe will round out our grid in 10th. 2.5 seconds off of Nico. So
we have 5 drivers within 250 thousandths of a second. So from Roadrunner to Chang, 5 drivers. It's gonna be backed. So, and it comes to the finest margins, really.
A very tight grid for what should be a very interesting podium battle, it must be said. Can they keep up with Arigata? Can they make anything happen? We will wait and see as the qualifying session comes to a close and we get ready for our first of 2 10-lap sprints. Unlike Super Formula, no tire rules. Everyone will be running on the race soft, which will easily take them through to the end of the race. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks. Our 2 sprint races will be beginning momentarily. Should be some incredibly exciting action. Any final thoughts before we get going, Ivan or John?
I think that now I will just, while we're having a 1 or 2 minute break, the drivers prepare to the start. I think the most important thing in sprint races is to keep it clean on the first lap, and then just try to settle in and try to make some moves. Also, Bradford is a very tricky track with the first lap on the cold tires, and the tire temperature is actually replicated in the game quite nicely. So the obvious advice would be keep your nose clean, because if you get damage, even if they are allowed to pit for repairs here, but you will be losing 30 seconds. Lap 1, I mean, you're not going to really get it back in 10 laps. So the most important thing here is to keep it clean. And on to you guys.
All right. Well, here we go. Moments away from the green flag as we load up the race session and get ready for the off. As the drivers await for the lights, Nico, once again, as we said, on pole position, bringing up the revs as 5 lights come on for our first of 2 sprint races. And it's lights out, and it is a good start for everyone across the pack. Roadrunner looking to make a move around the outside, slots in behind Arigata coming into turn 1. And everyone through turn 1 fairly cleanly, no drivers off yet. As they charge their way down into the Druids hairpin, Nico still leading side by side further back. That is Gramenos looking around the outside of Ramos. As Nico with a big twitch coming out of turn 3, using all of the track available and then some.
Missing the apex there, Nico. It's going to be an opportunity
running wide,
for
but
now.
all of our top 3 dropping a couple tires into the gravel on the runoff. Kind of evens out their run onto this back straightaway now through one of the fastest corners on the circuit. Uphill, lots of grip as they make their way through this Grand Prix section. Nico still holding about a half-second lead over Roadrunner. Not afraid to get a little bit of grass on those tires. As Super S2K now actually closing in almost right under the rear wing of Roadrunner. So he looks to set up a move, potentially. Charging their way now through the final corner to end lap 1. Super S2K potentially with a little bit of a run. A Roadrunner defends to the inside, will start to move back toward the racing line to set up for turn 1. Super S2K just moved around in the mirrors a little bit, potentially trying to throw him off. As the field makes their way back into the hairpin. One of the better overtaking opportunities on this circuit. Everyone holding station for the time being. It looked like we had a little bit of a side-by-side action further in the back. That would be, I believe, Dean, actually, or James, fighting with someone further back as Grove brings up the tail end of this train. Super S2K taking another look down the back straightaway. Looks to the outside
Super
for this
S2K.
corner. Side by side, a little bit of wiggle out of Roadrunner. Got on the grass, maybe a bit of a hip check from Super S2K on the short chute as Roadrunner takes to the gravel momentarily. Super S2K will make the pass round the outside, and now he'll try to set off after Arigata.
That was a great move.
That
Great
was
move
one
by
of-
Super
yeah,
S2K.
That was incredible move on the outside. Very, very brave, very risky. Something that I don't think anyone expected, not even Roadrunner. That's why he sort of lost the place. But incredible move by Onel.
There's now the
Yeah, and
teammates
just
all over each other coming down into turn 1.
Yes, and as we were following Super S2K's attacks, we didn't see that actually Chung, who was all over the ass of Gramenos, actually lost a bit coming on that back straight, and actually it was him being 6 tenths behind at the end, while Gramenos made it towards Ramos, and now we see a train of 4 cars being extremely close.
Roadrunner, perhaps a little bit of a slide on entry as he turns off of the Indy layout, makes his way back down the back straightaway, down the hill under the bridge, before climbing back up for this high-speed corner. Everyone's still single file. Grove sort of hanging onto the back of this train for the time being. Roadrunner again with a slide out of that corner. Manages to keep it on the black stuff through that kink. Gramenos looking around, trying to pick his point to perhaps make a move for the 4th place position. As we come around and get ready to start lap 4 here in just a moment. We'll take a look further toward the back. James has managed to break away from Supa running 9th. As he'll try to close the gap on Grove, currently about 3 seconds off the lead. or 3 seconds behind Grove, excuse me. 8 or almost 9 seconds off the lead. And then Supa, and James goes off. He is in the gravel. And that's going to drop him down to last place.
Gramenos now in trouble. Chang was again really close. Gramenos a little bit uncertain at the exit out of Druids. Then again going wide in the next corner.
Manages to hold it together for now, but certainly lost a bit of time to the two teammates up in front of him. Certainly has time still to go and try to make a move to get back through. And with how close everyone is running, it certainly asks the question how this they'll make the reverse grid sprint coming up after this very interesting to see if Arigata can make his way through this pack. Gramenos with a good run out of the penultimate corner. Ryan running a bit wide. Continuing to close the gap, which was about 7/10 toward the start of this lap. He actually has a huge run on Ramos. Looking to the outside at turn 1. Backs out of it for now, perhaps thinking of the crossover. No, Ramos actually covers it off beautifully. Oh, as his teammate gets slowed down, Roadrunner ran wide. He's going to lose both of those spots. And Gramenos now up into P4, looking for the podium.
Gramenos was ready there, committed to the switchback.
Oh, Roadrunner is wide again.
Oh, yeah.
Weaving around back and forth, trying to clean off those tires as quick as he can. Who now has Ryan all over his gearbox. Now the other there's a late move there by Roadrunner to defend his position. That was very late. They moved at about the same time, so I don't think it could be chopped up as a reactionary block, but certainly a late move nonetheless. Now the question I have for you, John, as we watch this battle unfold. How strong is the slipstream for these cars? Obviously, you mentioned dirty air, not typically too much of a factor for these radicals.
There's not a massive slipstream with not like with sort of like road base. Certainly, there's a bit. The problem, particularly with the Radical, is that it's not a massively torque-based engine. So, really are just they're high revving. So you sort of don't get the drag that you would perhaps see in other formulas. They're definitely, every little bit is worth it. I mean, if you're in the right place, you'll use it to just get that last little bit on the straight. But it's not massive.
Very interesting. Thank you for that insight. As Gramenos, once again looking to make a move, looks to the outside on Ramos. Not quite enough momentum to make the move happen as Roadrunner once again runs it a bit wide. Gets his tires in the grass and now picks up a half-second penalty for his trouble. Which should drop him behind Chung, might drop him into the clutches of Grove. As he makes his way onto this penultimate straightaway. Serves the penalty. Chung now up the inside. Will clear him with ease. Excuse me. As all these drivers now start lap 6, I believe? Unless it's going to click over already. No. Okay, so it does follow the... No, it does follow the car. Okay. Still very new to how Gran Turismo does its timing and scoring. Lap 7 now. As Gramenos takes a look, I'm messing around with the cameras, runs it a bit wide through Druids, but he'll have a nice straight exit as he charges down to turn 3. Another wheel in the grass on entry. Trying to carry as much momentum as possible through these corners. Looks to the inside. I don't think he's really going to be able to make a move there. As Chung now looking to defend from Roadrunner, who's all over his back bumper. Multiple side-by-side battles here as well. Gramanos looks to the inside. Big block from Ramos. Both drivers keeping it on track. What I believe that would have been a clean block. It was not reactionary. Just the moment he got off the corner,
going wide again.
As was Chung there. Both drivers getting into the grass on exit. That's allowed Mike to close right up to the back of him. Gramanos still under 0.3 to Ramos. We would look
Nico
a bit further up.
Incredible pace. Incredible pace. 1:28.3 fastest lap at the moment. The fastest lap of Super S2K 1:28.9. That's full 0.6 of a second.
Ramos defends a little bit going into the Druid's hairpin. Certainly took a very early entry. Might hurt him on the exit. Gramanos closing in again. Sets himself up through turn 3. Gets that run again. It's very difficult to overtake through this corner here. You'd think with how much of a braking zone it is, you could potentially sling one up the inside. It's just you lose all momentum in doing so because it's such a tighter line.
Yeah. Gramanos is having a great exit out of that corner. He
looks to the outside.
Got the job done.
And does get it cleared. Finally able to pass Ramos around the outside. As he'll now look to try to break away as quickly as possible. Ramos back down to 4th, and Chung now trying to close back in. Roadrunner has been able to reestablish himself ahead of Mike, able to run away a little bit, still trying to chase back down that top 5. And for those who might have been curious about that battle for the lead, Arigata 7.5 seconds clear of Super S2K, was a further 3.5 seconds ahead of Gramanos now in P3. So this is the battle on track for the podium. Gramanos through Roadrunner, and of course Mike Grove is still hanging around.
SDK had made a mistake. His last lap is 1:39, so that's why he dropped. And he's only 2.5 seconds ahead of Gramanos now, so maybe the battle for second is still up for grabs.
Absolutely. It looks, I would imagine that mistake would have happened on lap 7 for him toward the end of the lap. Might have run a bit wide through the final corners, just dropped the tire in the grass, which is why that lap 8 was
the
also...
apex. Yeah, Chung missed the apex here towards the back straight. The Roadrunner is really close, but he managed to hold it in front of him. P5 for him still, but it was really a bad exit there.
Yeah, Gramanos now also starting to pull away, so what was a battle for 3rd now starting to whittle down to a battle for 4th. All 3 of these drivers, and we saw them in the test and qualifying, all very close in terms of their lap times. All just a matter of who makes the fewest mistakes. Roadrunner once again running wide through that 3rd to last corner. As well, we have a moment. We'll take a look back further in the pack. James has managed to jump back up into the 9th place. Safe, I believe, might have had a couple issues a few laps ago. As James now looks to re-overtake Supa, get himself back up into 8th. But we will rejoin that battle in for the top 4. Final lap of the race. So only a few more opportunities for a pass to be made. Ryan looking to set up a pass potentially as Roadrunner goes all the way off track there. Didn't gain any time from it, certainly lost ground. I don't think he'll pick up a time penalty for it. But Chung with a great run off that corner again. All over Ramos's rear bumper. Looks to the outside. Can he make the move happen? Late on the brakes for both of them. Still hanging on. Still side by side. This will be dangerous coming into this corner here. Tries it around the outside at the kink. Just not enough grip on that outside lane, but very impressive from both of them to keep it as clean as it was. But that's allowed Roadrunner to get all over his back bumper now. They will make their way through the penultimate corner. Arigata crosses the line now to win the race in dominating fashion once again. Super S2K will cross the line second. Chung took a look. Not enough time left. He probably needed 1 or 2 more laps to make the move happen. He will come home fifth. Ramos fourth. Gramenos third. Roadrunner a hard-fought P6. Mike will bring it home seventh. A great result for him. As at the line drag race, Supa just pips James by 0.02 of a second. What a battle at the end. Apologies, we didn't catch that in time. And Safe will round out our grid in 10th, 40 seconds off behind the leader. But on the plus side, he will have pole position for our second of 2 sprints. So already very intense racing to begin. Don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to reverse our finishing order, and we will get underway in a few minutes' time for our second of 2 races. Lads, what do you think of that one?
You said Ivan, right?
I said who?
Yeah.
I said
race,
lads. So
the race was the race was very nice. I'm very surprised with how much faster Nico is compared to even to Onel, aka Press 2K. But I mean, our top 2 in the Super Formula Championship are top 2 here. So it seems like fast drivers are fast in anything. And the move that S2K pulled to snatch the second place on the outside and the back section, it was incredible. It was the move of the race for sure. So the driver of the race, for me, goes to Super S2K for that incredible pass on the outside. It is very, very difficult to do. And to do that, you have to trust your opponent a lot. So I think James is just
network error because of how long the lobby's been open. I'm just resetting it real quick. Just hop back in. I got the grid order, and I'll set that up immediately. So.
Yeah, so while we have the couple of minutes break before James sorts out the grid for the second race, John, what's your first impression of watching your first ever eSports race?
Yeah, no, it's exciting about it. The take move you're talking about, I actually, I'm glad I had my my mute on because I did actually go, I did make a little noise. I think you know what that could end up like if it goes wrong in real life.
Yeah. But again, I think they trust each other not to push each other off, so it was a very respectful defense. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it was very, like you say, very respectful racing, and no, it was exciting to watch. It's certainly, when you go side by side through corners like that on at Brands GP, that's you hold your breath a little bit. It was good stuff.
All right, as we will
lobby's back up, everybody.
Yep, we will get our lobby and grid sorted as quickly as possible. Second sprint race coming up momentarily as we get our drivers back in. Just a very impressive display by Nico. A very impressive overtake, as you have all said, by Super S2K. And a very intense battle for the third and fourth spots amongst those 4 drivers there. So should be very interesting to watch them all work their way through the pack again. As looks like we do have a bit of a weather change now for this second race. Lobby has been set to random weather. So we'll have to see how track conditions will affect these drivers. John, just to get a little bit of your expertise on the matter, how much does a cloud cover or just cooler temperatures really affect the radical at a circuit like this?
Well, I just saw that on the screen. I thought that looks more like the Brands Hatch I know. It's sort of more like the conditions I'm used to there. You know, occasionally we see some, but mostly it's it's a little bit cloudy and wet and damp. So it's you know, these sort of conditions make a big difference. I mean, it's surprising how much extra engine power you normally pull on a day when you've got a sort of, you know, a bit of low pressure and a bit of cloud and a little bit of damp in the air. It will help with the engines often when the sort of records are set. So don't know how that you know, I don't know if any of this online goes to the sort of extent of little things that make the difference, but you know, in real life, that would be I'd look at that as a good day.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Certainly, with Nico setting that 28.3 last time out, we'll keep an eye on his lap time. Certainly, for this second race, it'll be very interesting to see. You know, that previous race, he qualified up front and just ran away with it. Now we'll get to see some more of his actual racecraft, as he will be starting last for this 10-lap sprint. And
hello,
should be very exciting to watch him come through the pack.
Can I speak for a second?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm safe. The dead last guy that was last for a couple of hours. So I can't join the next race because my connection is really bad. What happened in the race was everyone was really glitching. So even James was overtaking me and he was really glitching. So I felt like I was gonna hit him. So I avoided him by going off track. So I'd rather not race in this in the next one because be on the front and scared to hold everyone back or make an issue. So
yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for letting us know, Safe.
Yeah, please stay in this chat and stay in the lobby, and we will chat after the second race all together. So thank you very much for your
sure. I have a lot of questions.
Responsibility for. Yeah. So stay tuned, and we'll chat after the second race. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
A very sporting decision by Safe, just to make sure these drivers aren't affected by unfortunate netcode. As you folks at home might have seen in the chat, we will be rolling in roughly 2 minutes' time. So 9 cars on the grid this time out. We should have, actually, it should be James now starting on the pole position, being promoted to first after Safe has volunteered to not start the event. That is actually our starting grid as well, over on the right-hand side of your screen. So it will be Dean starting ahead on pole position from Supa, followed by Mike in the third position, then Roadrunner, Ryan, Ramos, Gramenos, Super S2K, and Nico will round out our grid of 9 drivers at this point in time. As we are...
I think, can I just jump in for 1 second before we actually start the race? I think the most important thing for the 2 drivers at the back is obviously to pass everyone as quickly as they can, but the only chance for Super S2K to actually come out the winner of the event, we give the points for both races, the same system as in Super Formula, and we will have the total. So everything that S2K needs to do is to keep Nico behind, otherwise he has 0 chance of winning the whole event. So it will be interesting to see how, like, these drivers now, they have to attack all the time because they have slower drivers in front, but S2K, he needs to do everything in his power not to let Nico by, because as soon as he lets Nico by, Nico will be gone. So it will be interesting to see how he manages to balance attack and defense at the same time.
It certainly will be very interesting to see how these drivers navigate traffic, as we are now moments away from our second of 2 sprints. Lobby goes live, and we will be ready for the off. As James now awaits for the lights to come on, builds up the revs. As the lights come on, 3, 4, 5 lights on, and we are green again here at Brands Hatch. It is a good start. It is an incredible start for Nico, already jumping up past Gramenos, who could not get off the line. Dean leading the field down through turn 1 and down into the Druids hairpin. Mike looking up the inside, trying to hold on to the 3rd place position. A little bit of contact made further in the back, but I don't believe anyone has picked up damage just yet. Ryan, with an excellent start, has jumped himself up into the 4th place immediately, as we are jostling for position further in the back. Super S2K looking up the inside of Roadrunner. Unable to find enough room just yet. Now 3 wide, potentially. Nico looking on Super S2K. Thinks better of it, slots back in line. It's further up the pack. Supa trying to make a move on Mike. Oh, his contact. Mike gets pushed off. Tries to rejoin as safely as possible. I believe manages to do so. No one with damage just yet. Nico still running in 7th for the moment. Gramenos running 8th as a car goes wide. That was Supa runs it wide through the corner. Nico already up to 6th. Roadrunner up to 2nd. And James now with a just about a 1.5 second lead over the pack of cars running behind them. Now the 2 AMS drivers nose to tail. Super S2K looks up the inside of his teammate. I don't know if there was a little bit of contact there, but Ryan certainly a slightly compromised line. He'll defend to the inside, trying to hold off Nico for his teammate. Gramenos up the inside. Nico getting run a bit wide. Gramenos wide again. He'll drop back down to 8th. Nico now up into the top 5. Ramos looking to his inside. But like I said, very difficult to make a pass there happen, or certainly to hold it, just because of how much tighter of a line they have to hold through the corner. Arigata needs to get the pace going again if he wants a chance at winning this overall, as he's now 1.1 behind.
AMS drivers actually playing their game again, because I'm pretty sure that Ryan actually led Onel through on the straight. Ryan knows he doesn't have enough pace, and S2K is his teammate, so it looked like
both of them certainly
easy move.
Working together, yeah. Absolutely.
And now I'm very interested to see how fiercely Ryan will defend from Nico, to do anything to let his teammate pull away from Nico. You will see Ryan will not make it easy for Nico at all.
Super S2K already up into 2nd, sets the fastest lap of the race, 1.1 behind James already. 1.1. Ryan defending already from Nico, and he wasn't even very close to his rear bumper yet. The team games being played already. Ryan with a little bit of a slide out of turn 3. He's going to have to defend it through 4. Does so again, but that might compromise his exit. Nico could get a run here, and I believe he does. Tucked up tightly underneath that back bumper. Looks to the inside. He's there. Sends it up the inside. Can he make the move happen? They're still side by side on exit, leaving each other space. Oh, and Ryan just runs it wide. Just didn't have enough grip on that outside lane. Nico made it through.
Nico, you need to give the place back to Ryan, because it was a a push off the track for sure. So that was an illegal pass.
And he does pull over. He will give the spot back. Ryan, though, does have a half-second penalty. This is going to drop Nico behind a whole pack of drivers now because of that penalty, and it doesn't even get served. Nico down to 8th, and that might be curtains for his chance to go run down Super S2K. Nico back up the inside of Ramos. Minor amount of contact, but both drivers able to keep it on the track. Looks up the inside of Ryan again. Holds onto it this time. Still side by side, the two of them. Both of these drivers
Nico,
known for...
I know Nico can hear me. Nico, don't do stupid moves because Ryan will defend as hard as he can. Just wait for Ryan to serve his penalty this lap. Don't do silly moves.
But certainly both of these drivers already known for their very aggressive overtaking and defense on each other in the Super Formula Series. Seeing a bit of that here as well.
Smythe dropping to P3, so James dropped. Both Roadrunner and AMS Super S2K overtook him. Now we have a buffer for Super S2K of like 5 cars between him and Narigada, which means only one thing, right? Even though there are still 6 laps to go.
As Ryan will exit that penultimate corner, serves his penalty, which will drop him behind Nico and potentially behind Ramos, and does. Nico back up to 6th, but he has got a long way to go. There's 6.5 seconds from here to Super S2K, so over a second a lap alone just to catch him, but only with 5 laps remaining.
The thing here is that if Nico manages to finish in P2, they will have equal points with Super S2K, but Nico will take the overall win because he was on pole position. So everything Nico needs to do now is to make sure he finishes 2nd place.
So that drops his...
Everything Super S2K needs to do is keep Roadrunner in slipstream to make it a little bit tougher for Nico. Yeah, this will be an interesting race.
There is still a chance, but like you said, it's realistically about 5 and a bit seconds for Nico to still catch, on top of the fact that he needs to get around a bunch of other cars to do it. About halfway through this 5th lap, Nico closing in rapidly. Oh, but he picks up a penalty of his own! He's run it wide somewhere in earlier in the lap. He's got to hope that he serves this now and doesn't have to serve it and drop him back behind Mike immediately. He is going to serve it. Will manage to hold on to 6th for now, but that's going to hurt his chances. Still 6.5 seconds behind the lead. So that penalty undoing all of the gains he made during the course of that lap. Now, one thing we didn't mention between races, I believe the wind direction has changed quite a bit between the events. What was a crosswind down most of the straightaways has now become a tailwind as down this back straightaway that the leaders are currently making their way onto. So curious to hear how that would affect these drivers.
I doubt that they are thinking too much about the win now, especially Nico and Mike's tail. I didn't really expect these 2 races to be so intense and close on points, but Nico still has the chance, I believe. All these cars are very, very close, and S2K is the only car that far ahead. Nico, during the half of the lap, gained over half a second on Super S2K, so Nico again showing great pace. So if he concentrates and pulls up some crazy moves, crazy in a good way, he can still go up to 2nd place, I believe.
And Gramenos now past James for 3rd on track. And like you said, as Nico continues to charge his way up the grid, all these overtakes will just become harder and harder to make. I'm fooling around with the cameras too much
And
here.
Nico just passed Mike.
Nico
has
has
just
now
passed
up to
Mike on
5th.
front.
6 seconds off the lead for the time being. Trying to close in 5.5 now through the Druid's hairpin. He gained a lot of time through that opening segment.
Yeah, he's a second a lap faster than Super S2K, but Super S2K is, I believe, playing a game here of pulling Roadrunner with him, just to minimize the chances of Nico to get past.
And of course, Nico still needs to overtake another 2 cars and then close the gap to Roadrunner if he wants a chance. This will come down to the last lap most likely. We have about 3.5 laps to go here. James now the next car for him to overtake.
So keep it clean. Over 200 people and a lot of comments on the stream. It's nice to see. And Nico is gonna make
Nico around the outside of James. Can he make it work? James fighting back. Holds on to it for now, but Nico's going to have the run down the front straightaway. Crossing the line to start lap 8. 3 to go here. He needs to pass 1 car per lap. Time is there, but it is running out quickly. Looks to the inside, thinks better of it. James left him the space. Tiny amount of contact, I think, at the apex, but he is able to make the pass happen. Up to
that
4th
was almost
now.
out. Oh, someone's spinning on the background.
Trying to find who it was. Yellow flag is out. Ramos was the one that went around, it looks like. What's the keybind for the replay? I'm already forgetting it. I think I missed it. Unfortunately, I apologize.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Nico
We'll
is
jump back up
1.8
to
behind
Nico.
Ramenos for the podium.
1.8 for the podium, but he needs about 4 seconds to Roadrunner, who is still only a few tenths off the back of Super S2K.
Yeah, he's definitely playing the game that Felix said. S2K is much faster than this. He just keeps Roadrunner in his slipstream. So that
If you take a closer look, occasionally, like penultimate corner, he's taking it in 3rd, while in 4th we saw that the drivers are much faster. So I think, and as well, Roadrunner, even in the first race, is in that corner by default in 3rd gear. If he would switch up to higher gear, I think he would be able to carry a bit more speed there and have a better exit. I don't know, I'll leave that to the experts, but definitely they are losing time there compared to Nico.
2 laps remaining, but 4 seconds the gap to Roadrunner. So he's got to gain 2 seconds a lap here and also make the overtake happen if Nico wants a shot at winning this. Just unfortunate mistakes, I think, is what's going to end up costing him here.
both AMS drivers, again, playing a perfect team game. Like
That as well,
we
yes.
saw a lot of Ryan now playing Checo Perez here as the Minister of Defense, and STK is playing Carlos Sainz and giving slipstream to defend from the cars behind. So both AMS drivers are having very, very clever races. But you have to give it to Nico. I mean, he's fighting alone. He has a teammate against 2 very, very clever teammates. So that's difficult when you're on your own.
Of course, worth mentioning 2 pairs of teammates in this event. Roadrunner and Ramos teammates in the Endurance Series as well. As we are now on the final lap of the race, Nico sets another fastest lap of 1:28.3, slightly faster than it was in the previous race. Though that might be down to the small amount of slipstream he's getting off of Gramenos here.
Yeah,
He certainly has
situation-
potential to get up onto the podium, but I think time has run out for him to go chase down the two leaders.
True. That situation with Chang really set him back, where there was contact, and then Ivan intervened for Nico to let Chang through.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was those 3-4 seconds that were lost at the end.
Certainly putting him back behind all of those other cars as well, when he had to give up the position. Ultimately cost him. Still a very impressive drive nonetheless, but it will be AMS Super S2K rounding the final corner, keeping it on the track, and he will win our second of two sprints and will win the points battle for our little sprint championship. Gramenos will bring it home third, 2/10 ahead of Nico. Mike, did he have a penalty there?
He did have a penalty.
He did have a penalty. That's a very unfortunate.
Chang overtook Smai as well.
So Ryan manages to grab fifth place at the last moment. James, with a very strong defense, holds on to the sixth place position, and Mike brings it home for a second, seventh place result. That will do it, I believe, for the on-track action here today. But we will.
I'm just gonna count the points really quickly, and I will announce the results overall. So just bear with me for a couple of minutes, and we'll announce the points.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and of course we will also.
I'll just thank everybody. I'm really tired, so I'm looking off. I'm happy that you created this. This is really incredible event, an incredible initiative, and I wish everybody great luck. If it happens again that you will have this kind of testing, I mean, if I can, I'll be joining and commenting on it. And that's it. Enjoy, guys.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Felix. Always a pleasure to share the booth with you. At this point,
if I
while
may.
we wait.
If
Go
I
ahead.
may, real quickly, if I'm not mistaken, we had Arigato winning the first race and
Correct.
Super S2K winning the second, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So, if they're up for it, I say we have a 3-lap one-on-one.
That would be the case if Nico had managed to finish second in that race.
Oh, but he didn't.
He did not.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Nico did not make it up to second place, so we should have a points champion on our hands.
So actually, I have already finished doing the points. So we congratulate Super S2K. He has 45 points after 2 races. Then Nico is in second place with 40 points. Then we have Gramenos with 34. Then we have Roadrunner with 31. Then we have Ryan with 24. Ryan with 26. Ramos with 24. James with 19. Super 17. And Safe with the 7. So top 3, Nico and Gramenos. Well done, guys.
So well done to all of our drivers. At this point, I believe we will now open it up to questions for our drivers. Over to John, I believe.
Yeah, I think just to avoid unstructured dialogues, we start with the order they finished this event. So I think the first to go would be Super S2K. Onel Pura, the youngest driver we have. Jump in. If you have anything to say. No, unfortunately
No,
not.
unfortunately not.
If you have any question, if you have any question to John, you can ask him, and we'll just repeat it so the people on the stream hear it.
Wait, SDK. If you go into the party and go to other party audio settings, it's in there. Go to the party itself, and then go party audio settings. It's in there. It's called allow your voice to be shared.
There you go. Okay, try now. I think it might work. Oh my god, what a clutch guy.
Yo,
I
welcome.
believe we might have just lost John, potentially. Did we have an error come up?
No, John is here.
Okay, I thought I saw an
John,
error
can you
message.
hear us?
Yep, I'm here. Hopefully you can still
Okay,
hear
so
me.
that was someone else then. My apologies. So we'll get started. Super S2K, any questions you have for John?
First off, I appreciate you supporting this whole series. I found it very cool. And again, the opportunity is just a once in a lifetime thing. So obviously, it's like, you know, still kind of surreal to think about that we're doing these kinds of events. Which again, I appreciate you for a lot, as well as everyone else who's been helping. But my main question to you is, again, sim racing and real racing are very different. Two very different things. I mean, obviously, technique can be developed on the simulator, but when you see someone come from a sim to a real car with like real test days and the actual physicality of everything, what do you find is the biggest thing people need to improve on when they transition between sim racing to real racing?
First, let's say congratulations on the wins. That was great, and yeah, really exciting for me to watch as well. So yeah, congratulations with that. Yeah, I've got experience of running sim drivers in real cars. I have had that before. I've actually had a young Turkish lad that went to F2, who had his first ever go in a race car with us, and he was actually, I mean, we tested about 6 drivers over a few weeks, and he was by far the quickest, amazingly, and he was purely, all his experience was from sim. He was, I guess technically he was actually very good. I think the thing I would say he needed to, it was the cleaning up of his driving is a little bit ragged. I think, you know, it's, as you'd probably expect, you know, when you're racing online, so the reality is, you know, there is that allowing a little bit of sort of error on the track, which in reality sort of can penalise you. And I'd say that was the main thing I noticed with him, was he was just pushing the exit curbs a little bit hard in places and making little mistakes. But he had the commitment to carry the speed, so you know, it was that side was quite impressive. And you know, especially when you're in aero cars, you know, it's about keeping the momentum and keeping the car. So you know, overdriving is not where the time's to be found. And I think that's possibly what I'm saying, is it's easy for you to perhaps come from the online racing and in reality overdrive. So it'll be about keeping calm and reining that back.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to Nico. Nico, if you have anything to say or ask, or it's your time, so shine, my friend.
Hey guys, Ivan, Blade, and I don't know if Felix is still here. James and John. I hope you guys had a great time watching the races. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity. John, I actually wanted to ask something like pretty similar to S2K. So thank you, Sergey, for stealing my question. So yeah, I wanted to ask you if you felt that the simulators in any way, just in time, in data, in you know, how the force feedback works, or you know, if you guys manage to build a sim with these things that go under the cockpit or anything like that moves in the cockpit, do you feel like it recreates in a certain way the feeling of the car, and that if any great sim racer could transfer into a real car.
Yeah, let me just say congratulations again to yourself, Nico. Today, that was really, that was really impressive. You were putting it and consistent, so that was really good. So well done. I've had a fair bit of experience with sort of quite high-end sims that we use with drivers. There's so much that obviously, yes, does feedback to the driver, and as far as how they've developed those, but equally, there's still an awful long way to go between that and the sort of the finer details of real world driving. So that that, as you say, the force feedback on wheels and things like that. That they all give it an element of what to expect, but it's that sort of finer line of and feel that you need, and you can only ever get that from a real car. So that's the bit where when you actually go from driving in a sim to a real car, where you've really got to sort of understand and get the feel really, and certainly keep a very open mind as far as not trying to read too much into what you do on a sim relative to what you do in a car. I've had a lot of people that have looked at times as to what they can do in a sim and actually think that that's going to replicate in the car. It's not about that. It's about the overall package of driving. So it's it's a fantastic tool, and it's proving to work. So I think it's only ever going to get better as technology improves anyway. So yeah, I think that's the answer to that question.
Thank you very much, John. Congratulations to Nico as well. I mean, overall pace was way better than S2K. It's just the team play that these guys play is perfect, as it is in Super Formula. So congratulations to the both of you. Now we move on to the guy who probably has the largest support in the chat, because the chat was exploding with Greek supporters here. It's like a Nations Cup final or something, because we had a lot of supporters for you. And so jump in, say. I mean, yeah, go on, Grandmanas. You did great.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. When I saw my name, it was actually a surprise because I thought my results were very unlucky. So this has been the most fun I've had, and congratulations on putting this event on. Like, honestly, it's amazing. I just first want to say, on the second race, I felt better with the car, but today I've tried to make it as real as possible. I've been using my manual shifter and a clutch, because I know this car has one. And I started in 5th gear, because I'm stupid. I just... I messed up there. I had the pace with Super 2K, but him and especially Nico were amazing today. So I just have 2 questions for John, really. 2 short questions, if possible. The first one is, should I have just stuck to the paddle shift, or was it a good idea just to make it authentic? Like, do you think it helps to use the clutch when most modern cars are nowadays using sequential gearboxes? Like, authenticity wise. Can you hear me?
John, you are muted.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was to say, modern day cars, we pretty much everything we use nowadays is clutch to get off the line, and then paddles or sequential, and you just bang it up the gears, so you don't use clutch really. Get away out of the pits and to get off the line on the start, really.
And my second question is, do you think it's aids, like obviously when you're young, you've got the advantage, but do you think it's ever too late to get into some sort of series?
Not at all. I mean, I've got guys that that race radicals with me that are one guy that a couple of years ago he's just sort of moved on to some classic racing now, but years ago he's 72 years old and still racing radicals. So I think that's sort of answers that. Yeah, no, if you've got that desire to race and you've got the competitiveness, do it all the way. I mean, at the end of the day, life's about racing in my eyes.
I agree. I think what the sim lacks is the G-force. Like, it's something I feel like I miss in the sim, because excuse my language, your bottom part feels a lot in your back. Like, I just think that's what lacks.
Totally. I mean, that is the thing. I can't remember who was asking me a minute ago, and I said, you can't replicate everything with the Sims, and that feel through your bum is probably the biggest thing. Where real car, you get that feel, and that's where every driver gets. The limit of how far you push the car is the guy that's just got the best feel through their arse, really.
Yeah, I've driven this track once, John. Nothing special, but that turn one, it really drops. You feel your stomach end up, like it's a bit different.
I remember the first time I raced there, and that was exactly the same. The first time you dive through there at speed, and you realise quite how steep it is, and you do. Your stomach sort of jump to your throat.
Well, once again, thank you very much. I don't have any more questions at the moment. Thanks for inviting me, and I wish you success in the future with this organization and everything you're doing, guys. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. We move on to the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Team Play, Ryan Chung, the guy who would have been leading Super Formula Championship if not the drop forward. One of the most consistent guys I've seen in the game. Ryan, on to you.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, John, for everything that's been going on here, and of course to Ivan and Smai for everything. James, I should say. I was trying to think of a question while they were all answering. They're asking their own questions, and it kept taking my own question, so I had to thought of it 3 or 4 times. Say my question is have you ever had a fresh driver new to you doing a test day ever struggle with the G-force of the car, them having real problems with it, and if so, what did you guys have to do to help them cope with the G-force?
I can't say that specifically G-force. I think when you're a radical F4 level of car, there's definitely forces on you, not to the extremes of F1. So they're not needing to do massive neck exercises, but from a pure fitness level, yes, I've had several drives over time that purely haven't had the fitness to certainly to carry out test days. If you're carrying out a day where you can bang in 100 laps, it's definitely you've got a fitness level up. So I wouldn't say necessarily at the sort of the more junior levels of the sport as far as load on you through G-forces, but yeah, definitely fitness as a whole.
Okay, thank you, and that's the only question I have, really. Again, thanks for everything that you guys have been doing.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ryan, for being part of this. We now move on to the two teammates, Roadrunner and Ramos. Go ahead, guys. It's your time. Say what you want to say, ask what you want to ask.
So first of all, I have to say I really appreciate what you guys doing here, and this is very fun and very competitive here. And today there was very strong drivers on the track, and GG to Nico and also to Super 2K, and my question is there a big difference between F4 and F3?
Yeah, in answer to that, yes. There's a big jump up in general sort of aero grip on the car, and sort of particularly engineering capability on the car. The F4 car is fairly basic in what you can adjust on the car. F3 car, it's at the end of the day, F3 car is the point at where you're really being honed to drive in Formula One. So you've got to start learning at that level. All the things you're going to be needing to know. So yeah, just general technical advancements really with the F3. So yeah, there's a fair difference between the two.
All right, thank you.
Hi as well.
Avi?
Yeah. Hello. My question, and thank you for setting everything up. It's been good. But my question to you is: to what extent do your current drivers, who are real life drivers, actually use the sim? And if they do you think it improves their performance?
Yeah, I think nowadays pretty much all drivers are using sims. I think it's sort of known that that's sort of what you've got to do to effectively just gain, let's say, cheap track time. It's not sort of actually on the track as we know, but it sort of creates muscle memory. So I think in that why it's seen that it has to be done. Just at the last rounds of GB4 that we did, I think a driver was having a little bit of trouble trying to get his head into gear with a few changes that we'd made, and him trying to get the most out of the car. So we had, sort of at the end of the day, went across and went on the sim for a couple of hours so he could show me what he was doing, so I could actually watch and sort of try and see where the problems were occurring. It was all to do with pedal crossovers, and yeah, it's I think it's a tool that's got to be used nowadays. So in answer to that, yeah, it's important.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. We will move on to Super and Safe, and then we'll move on to our co-founders, as everyone said, Mike and James. So, Super, if you want to jump in. Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you very much for kind words. It means a lot for everyone. It's pretty much a full-time job for all of us now. So, yeah, your kind words are very, very much appreciated. Now, Safe, before you decided to drop out of the second race, you said you had a lot of questions. So, make sure that we are not keeping John to midnight here, but shut it off.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the event or the day. That really impressive. The whole thing is really impressive. I will keep it short. I think I will have like one important questions for me, and it is how do you help a driver improve his racecraft over a season? Like, he comes out from like his first professional career. How do you like improve his racecraft gradually? And how do you, if there's a specific track that he struggles at, how do you make him like improve or how to deal with it?
John, you're muted. John, we can't hear you. John, we still can't hear you. Well, while John is having some technical issue, perhaps I will try to answer your question, and if John is able to rejoin again. James, can you text John? You have his phone.
I'm back
John
now.
is...
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. So the question was how the driver from his first ever test day to improve and to win championship.
Yeah, no, I got that. I got that, and then tried to reply, and yeah, there was a little bit of a technical. It's obviously every drive is so different that it's the processes are very much built around the individual and how obviously with all the experience we got, we know what we see and we know where the weaknesses usually are, and we sort of pinpoint those, and then it's just a case of nurturing, feeding the information, lots of data analysis, video footage, sitting down after test days, qualifying race, having debriefs, and then understanding each individual driver's own sort of sometimes they have days where they're just not on it. Sometimes they have little things which have big effects with how they move forwards on the track, and it's just it's about understanding the driver and just nurturing them, and it's a slow process, I guess. It's just picking up on bits one time, one thing after another.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I get it now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will pass the word to James and to Mike in whichever order they want to go. Once again, I'd like to thank both for everything they've done and are yet to do to help us grow. And yeah, Mike and James.
I think it's only fair we let Mike go last, if anything, since I don't think any of us would be here without him, to be fair. I had a question for John based on just what I was hearing, and being a 6'4" male, again, gamer here, just random question, but you mentioned G-forces and whatnot, right? Do you feel there's a height limit in terms of this kind of thing because of that at all? And sounds dumb, but this is based off a roller coaster I was on that they may say you're way too short, but there needs to be you're too tall for this. So I'm just curious if that has ever come up at all, like you're too tall to be in the car or anything like that.
I've certainly had that situation over the years. I think that that's an interesting one. I mean, it's so carpeted now. On that basis, what I can say is we had a 6'2" driver that went all the way to GP2 F2 now. But that's probably getting close to the limit for a single seater. But then in a radical, I've run a driver that was 6'7.5", who then went on to also do LMP2. So there's obviously limitations. It's hard because you've got to, as a team, we've got to work hard to get the pedals and everything to suit. But there's obviously limits, but there's obviously ways you work around that as well. Like I say, 6'7.5" is pretty tall. So I think everything's possible.
Yeah, so in other words, with the age you mentioned earlier, there is hope for Jeremy Clarkson still. John, there's really not words that I can say that express, like, from a gaming side, like, what this is and what you're open to doing. So I'll just leave it at that, like, thank you. Mike, if you have anything to say, please add.
Guys,
top
one
us
second.
off.
Sorry for interrupting, James. We have before we move on to Mike, we have a question from the chat as well. So some fans of Nico actually asked the question: how did you manage to be so consistent on lap times, and even when you fell back, you managed fourth? It's like you got use of the knowledge available for the slipstream. So I think to translate it into proper question would be, how did you sort of get yourself together and manage to come back? And did any advice that John gave about slipstream help you to come back to fourth?
Thanks for the question, whoever he or she was. Yeah, it's for me. This is a combination in the Radical that it's pretty damn good. I really like it. It's a track that suits me a little bit, and a car that doesn't have much aero. That it's what I'm used to, at least on the simulator. So it just kind of seemed right to me. I tried to stay focused. I know I had to catch up to STK and to the guys in front, but I couldn't do that if I had a mindset that wasn't ready to go full attack and just chain every braking point, every acceleration point, and everything like that. So I just tried to be consistent. I tried to keep my focus ahead even after the incident with Ryan. And yeah, the slipstream, as John said, it's not that big in these cars. It's not much of a difference. And I just drive like if I was going and I was behind someone, and when I was in the position to make a move or anything like that, I just tried it. That's what I was getting prepared for. So yeah. Thanks for the question.
Thank you very much. We actually got quite a lot of comments during the stream and a lot of people watching and commenting. So thank you very much for all the viewers. And I pass on it to the man behind it all, Mike. James, is Mike here actually? Because I can't even see him here. James?
Just give me 1 second, I can check.
To be fair, I know he left the lobby, and he might be on his stream.
James?
Mike has left.
To be fair, I know he left the lobby, and he might be on
his stream. Alright, so from my side, thank you very much to John, to James, to Mike, to Aaron, and to Felix, and to everyone who takes part in our championships, and to everyone who watches the streams. We still have 166 people on the stream now.
I think it's important that we recognize Mike and what he's done, and also that his livelihood is based on his stream. And so it does not surprise me that he did that. So hats off to him, to be fair. None of this would happen without him. And that's just the truth. And John and Ivan, both of you guys, but we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him. So I don't have words to express the gratefulness to what he has allowed me to start, and then Ivan to come in on, and then John to support. This is incredible. So
John, if you have anything else to round up.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, that it was great to be involved with this today. It's obviously, it's a completely different thing from what I do with the everyday racing, and it's great. It's superb, and you've all pulled together and made it something that's really looking like it's what we want to be involved with, and it's exciting. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you all so much for what you're doing here and putting on, and others as well. Fantastic effort. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Aaron, do you want to round up this stream?
Of course. Just once again, thank you to everyone who's been able to come together and put this together. I know personally I would not be in this position if it weren't for all of you. So this has been an incredible honor for me to be able to commentate for all of you and bring this to you, the fans at home. So with all that said, thank you all so much for watching today. Be sure next week, tune in around probably an hour earlier from now, where we will have round 7 of the Scorpio Super Formula Championship running in tandem with the real life 24 Hours of Le Mans. We will also be watch our top drivers take on the Circuit de la Sarthe. 22 laps around the French countryside. James, I believe you have one last thing to say.
Oh yeah, just again a big thank you, and we will have our GT4 championship kicking off tomorrow as well. So feel free to join us. We'll have a live broadcast going here at Scorpio eSports, and just some more, just great competition. It is a custom GT4 championship, so it is not your BOP from your standard Gran Turismo. It's going to be incredible. Numerous drivers that are in this series will be there as well. It's going to be a great show. And the final tipping question that I have, and I've had this the whole day, is Gramenos, please tell me, how do you pronounce your first name?
Panayotis. Panayotis.
Panayotis?
For short. You can call me Panos for short, it's easier.
Close to that lovely old Panos GT car, right? I miss that in the old GT games. Yeah,
yes,
I really do. All right, thank you guys.
People just call me PG. PG, the initials.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all once again for making such an incredible event. Thank you to all of our drivers for putting on such an incredible performance. And thank you to you, the fans, for coming to check out today's broadcast. I have been Leonard Blade, and we will be signing off. Thank you all so much. Goodbye.